This is Sam Gregoire and Joe Conte recording Roger L. Briscoe Jr. Can you please state your name and then spell it just for the recording?
Roger L. Briscoe, ROGER-L-BRISCOE.
All right, and just for the recording's sake, just so you know, if there's any time that you don't want to talk about anything, you do not have to. If there's anything you'd like to pull out of the recording later, or anything, questions that you'd like not answered, you're more than welcome to as well.
Gotcha.
We're not trying to press you in any way, so just
Yeah, and after we're done, we'll give you a copy of everything that we do. So,
Okay,
yeah.
sounds
Yep.
good.
All right, so just to start off with some basic questions. Where did you grow up?
I actually grew up here in Indiana, PA. I was initially born in Michigan. I was born in Ypsilanti, Michigan, and moved here as a young child. I think I was 2, and my dad got a job here at IEP and has been here since.
And just one more thing real quick. If I don't respond to you or anything like that, it's nothing against you.
All
I'm
right.
just trying to get you recording because you're the focal point of this,
No
not
problem.
me. And just to create a little less confusion, it'll be mostly me talking. Joe will interject here and there with some other questions, but
Okay.
for the most part, just so you don't have someone to focus on, it'll be mostly me.
Sounds good.
But so can you tell me a little about your parents and your family background?
My dad was born in D.C. My mom was born in Michigan. He grew up with not much, and my mom grew up kind of with a little bit more. So it's kind of interesting that they come from 2 very different backgrounds. Pretty impoverished in D.C. My dad's dad was a janitor. Mom didn't work much. My dad's mom actually died when he was only 13. And then I'm not even sure what my mom's parents did, but my dad went to a private school because he did well in school, that he was able to kind of come up from those inner city schools and go to a private school and have a good education, which is what ultimately brought him to Michigan while he was doing his doctorate, and then ultimately met my mom up there. My mom went to school for interior design, I think it was. It was either fashion or interior design. And my dad went to school for educational psychology.
And then where did your dad go to school at?
You mean when he was in D.C.?
Or in college?
In
just for
college,
yours?
in college he went to Bowie State University in Maryland. And my
Okay.
mom went to Eastern Michigan University. So a lot of people say EMU here, or EMU for certain places, and I always think Eastern Michigan, but I guess there's a couple other schools that have EMU as well.
All right. So what was the community like where you grew up?
Since it was here, it was not diverse at all. I was one of maybe 6 black kids in my school, but I played a lot of sports and I did well in school, so I got to know a lot of people. And I felt like I was the person that tried to get along with everybody. I didn't try to just form to one clique. I had my football friends, I had my friend, I even was in the chess club for a year because I just tried to get around and do everything just to get to know everybody at the school. So even when it came to our class reunion, I was talking to almost everybody there instead of just staying in one little group and everything else like that.
Did you do all of your education in Indiana?
Yeah, I did. I didn't exactly want to, but that's what it came down to. In junior high, high school, college, everything has been here.
So, what was the early schooling like the elementary school? Did you notice anything different in that area from, what you would, I don't know, expect other elementary schools to look like? Or?
Well, now that I know what other elementary schools look like, it was very different because I guess I just took it for granted that I was able to come up with a pretty decent education, and then I hear about all these inner city schools and everything else like that, and things that I expected from my school. Not other schools really expect that, having good textbooks, teachers that are actually willing and wanting to teach you, and everything else like that. So I have a greater appreciation, especially now that I have a son that's entering this school system, that it is something that he can actually grow from and grasp, and hopefully he doesn't take it for granted. Hopefully that he understands that the education that he's getting. I'm going to even express that to him as he starts to get a little older, that it is something that is very appreciative around here.
So you did mention a little bit about your high school, and was it Indiana Regional?
Indiana area.
Indiana area. I'm not from the area. I don't know a lot of the technical terms.
Indiana
I just knew it was called Indiana High School. So you did go there. What was it like? Was there a lot of? You said there was a lot of diversity, but did you notice anything different about it?
My year, everyone was very nice. Again, I don't know if it's because I knew a lot of people or anything else like that, but I mean, it was obviously people saying bad things about other people, as it's going to be in any school. Nothing that was too huge, but I mean, there was still words that were said about a different group of people here, a different class of people there. But otherwise, I thought that we were one of the better classes because even though there were different groups and kind of like a hierarchy type of thing, we still didn't really berate and belittle people like that.
So you did say there were there were some different cliques and stuff like that. What were some of them? Like, do you remember some of the ones that were popular ones? Or?
Yeah, it was like the popular group, the middle popular group, the people that were kind of from the mobile homes group, people that were from Chevy Chase group. It was just things like that. It was basically from where you were almost raised up.
Mm-hmm. And you said you didn't really stick to one, but there were like ones that you kind of stuck to, or you said you played football, correct?
Yeah, I mean, I hung out more with my friends that I played football
Mm-hmm.
with and sports with and hung out with.
Awesome. How do you think you were perceived by your peers?
Well, hopefully as a nice person. I think I was perceived as a nice person. I was always laughing and smiling and just trying to keep the mood light. Like I never tried to, even to this day, I try not to be too serious about anything. Because you can't live life just being too serious and too hard on everybody. And I just think it's always good to smile, no matter what the situation is.
All right. So, do you remember some of your friends growing up, and who were they? Were you hanging out with? Like, who were you hanging out with, and not like just names and stuff like that.
No
but
names.
Like, I mean, you're more than welcome to say names too.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like I'm gonna know who they are, but
Yeah, that's true.
but I mean, just more of who were you hanging out with, that kind of deal.
It was, again, just a lot of my football friends. And I mean, even a couple of the guys didn't play football, but it was like a friend of a football friend that we just knew each other. Most of them was like my friend Brandon Blinn, Mike Best, Mike Jack, but every single one of these guys are football players. So I would say I mainly hang out with football players. My best friend at the school, he wasn't exactly a football player. He tried out here and there. He's just a skinny kid that lived near me. But we were just always good friends, always hung out with him. So I would say I hung out with him the most, but outside of him, even whenever I was hanging out with my football friends, he kind of wasn't the guy to hang out with us because he was a little bit different. He wasn't quite the athletic type or the one that molded and gelled well, talking with other people and everything else like that. So it was very different having a friend that I was really close to, not really hang out with the friends that I hung out with most. So it was very different in that aspect.
What were some of the things you like to do, like outside of school?
You mean right now?
I mean,
Or just
no,
back in the day still?
back in the day.
Oh, okay.
we'll get there later.
Gotcha. Back in the day, it was football or football practice or hanging out with my friends. I didn't do anything crazy. I didn't drink. I didn't do any drugs or anything else like that.
Were there some like local spots you like to go to and hang out at, or like?
Just friends' houses. Because back in the day, that was when we would just play around outside, no matter what and where. Now there's more hangout spots, but back then it was just go to a friend's house, hang out around the neighborhood. I mean, the most local spot we would go was maybe the swimming pool. But other than that, it was just a friend's house or just out in the neighborhood somewhere.
Mm-hmm. All right, so one second here. So what were your plans when you finished high school? Did you have this mindset of going right to college, or did you want to work a little bit, or what was kind of?
I had an influence with my dad being a professor. But actually, when I first graduated high school, I wanted to be an electronic engineer. And sometimes I don't really say I wish I did that, but I still have the mindset of wanting to do things engineering/electronic. But I went to an engineering firm and I've met a couple of different engineers, and they're just weird people. They're real dry sense of humor, not very outgoing. And so that's actually what made me change majors while I was at college. But I did initially go to college to be an electronic engineer, but I always had the mindset to go to college.
Did your dad influence that? Like,
Yeah, I mean, he didn't say you must go to college, but I mean, I'm the youngest of four, and now everyone else went to college. So I was like, I'm going to college.
Yeah. So, knowing that there was such a small minority population in Indiana, Did that affect how you were raised growing up, or do you think that affected how you were raised
I
growing
don't
up?
think it was, because we always traveled. We traveled a lot. We would travel to D.C. a lot, and we traveled to Michigan a lot. Again, because that's where my dad was growing up and my mom was growing up. So it's not like I was blinded to diversity. I knew what was going on around here, but sometimes not to the extent. I didn't know how much racism there either was or wasn't around here. I still see it as there's not a lot. But as I talk to some of my friends who are African American or even of Arab descent or anything else, there is racism around here. But there's racism everywhere. So it's not like you could just say, oh, Indiana's a bad place. It's going to happen any and everywhere you go. But again, I wasn't blinded to diversity just because we traveled so much. I still don't even know some of the streets here, even though I've been here for 20-some years, because even over the weekend, my wife and I would still just travel to Monroeville, travel to Pittsburgh, just go somewhere else. It just has more than Indiana has.
So, being in the situation that you actually still do live in the town that you grew up, have you seen it change at all since your childhood?
I have. I think the diversity has risen. Even in my neighborhood that I'm in now, I know that there weren't that many black people back in, or I shouldn't just say black people, many minorities back in the day. And now I have 3 neighbors that are African American and a couple of Arab families up the street and everything else like that. So I know it's much more diverse than it used to be.
What part of town did you live in when you were growing up? If you don't mind me asking.
No, I don't mind. At first, I was on 9th Street. That was the early part of my life, pretty much when we moved here till I was in 2nd grade. Then I was in Shadowwood Village. It's kind of behind Walmart. If you just like go behind Walmart through the cornfield, everything else like that. And I grew up from there till college, throughout college. And now I just live up the street from Shadowwood Village and Sunset Acres.
So, what made you choose IUP?
It was either I get a full ride somewhere else or I go to IUP because my dad worked here. So I got money at other schools, but if it wasn't a full ride, it was IUP.
So, money definitely played an impact in that one.
Yeah, if I didn't want to get in huge debt.
That is understandable. So, what did you major in when you attended?
I started off with it wasn't electronic engineering, but it was like a joint thing that they do. I think it was with Drexel. So like you start here for a year or 2, and then you go to Drexel to do that. So I started off with that, and then again I went to the firm as a freshman. Didn't like half my classes, so I switched majors to athletic training, and then I started doing some of that. And I thought about it, and I was like, I don't want to be wrapping people's feet all day and hearing athletes complain. So I switched over to exercise science. Sorry for either of you athletic. Well, you can't be athletic training. You're doing this. But then I switched to exercise science, and I just loved it, and I stuck to that and moved on from there.
How did your father's position at IUP affect your experience at school? Did it change anything, help anything, get any special benefits?
I would say the only special benefit was the tuition thing. I mean, other professors knew him, but it's not like they would give me special treatment or anything else like that. And I was in a totally different department, so that made the difference too. And I didn't even come to him with many questions or anything, so. I mean, he would always be there for me if I needed to. I would go over there and visit, see him in class and see him after class and everything, but nothing crazy, just normal camaraderie with my dad type of thing.
Did his presence on campus kind of like inhibit you from doing anything that you might have wanted to do?
Not at all.
I don't know, maybe he didn't approve of Greek life or something like that. I didn't know.
I was never into frats or anything, but it didn't stop me from being crazy my freshman year.
Fair enough. Do you feel like your experience at IUP was different from like the white students or the majority population there?
I don't think so. Because, like I said, I try to get along with everybody. I had a group of white people that I would hang out with and a group of black people I would hang out with. Actually, hardly ever would be a mix of them. But I didn't try to just separate myself from any class or group of people. I would hang out with as many people as I could.
So, what organizations were you involved in your time here? Like extracurriculars, clubs?
The only thing I got into was like exercise science club. Like I said, I was never really big into frats or anything else like that. I wouldn't say I was smart enough to get into those I guess, nerdy fraternities or whatever it is. I was just a good student, but I don't think I was trying to go above and beyond. So I was just in a regular.
So you said you had never had the intention of joining Greek life.
No.
Was that always a presence on campus at the time, though?
I think the only thing that would have intrigued me was as I was growing up, since my dad was a professor here, we went to a lot of different events that were throughout IUP. And a lot of them were with NAACP and with the AACC and those block parties. I don't even know if we have them like we used to. But they used to be real big. A lot of people coming through, white and black people. Black people would do their little step dances and everything else like that, and it was just fun. That kind of started to fizzle out when I actually became a student. Like I noticed that when I was in junior high and senior high. And then when I became a student, I was like, that's not even really going on anymore. So it never really intrigued me anyway, and I don't want to be hazed. I don't like people telling me what to do, nor doing anything that hazing has to do with. So I wasn't into that to have friends to be made or anything else like that. So that's just my opinion. I think it's fine for other people to do fraternities and everything. I just always have my own opinion on it, but if someone else wants to do anything, it'll be it for them.
So going off of kind of what you said there, is there anything else that you kind of noticed changed from like your time being in high school and living in the town to when you actually came into IUP at the university?
I would say people going to football games too, because I used to go to football games. It used to be packed. And then even when I came here, I think I went to like 4 football games through my 5 years I was here, 4 undergrad and a year of master's. So I would definitely say that.
And I can attest to that. I have got to the middle football game, so
Yeah.
it's definitely different. So, do you still use your degree? Are you still involved in exercise science and stuff like that?
I'm the head personal trainer at the YMCA right now, so it's definitely my degree. If I didn't know any of the stuff I learned there, I don't think I'd be as far as I am right now. And I like to think I'm successful right now, and just because of the lives I'm helping to change.
And you did say you went back for your master's, correct, as well?
Yeah. I mean, that technically I'm not using, because that was a sports management master's.
It looks nice.
Yeah, it looks good.
So did you live on or off campus when?
I lived on campus. Even though we were around here, my dad was like, just have the college experience.
Did you live on campus all 4 years?
Yes.
Or 5 years, I guess?
Well, I guess
Four
technically, when I was doing my master's, I wasn't on campus. I was at home, I think I was. Yeah, I was at home. But I was out and about so much. And I met who is now my wife as an undergrad right before we graduated. So I was hanging out with her more than I was home. I was studying with her, home to sleep basically, and then just kept that cycle going. I mean, our parents didn't mind. I was like 22 at the time. So
Was she the same major as you, or was?
No, she's not even from the same country. She's from Mozambique. We met at the co-op store. We were working there together. She was in clothing and I was in textbooks. And we met right before we graduated, actually. And then she stuck around.
That's really cool. Does that added diversity, do you think that helps you? I mean,
Oh yeah, I like it. I guess I always liked the hard way. I only seriously dated one American, which is funny. I dated a Canadian. I dated a girl from Mexico.
just
I
like
guess
diversity.
I guess. Yeah, that's for sure.
Do you think living on campus affected your experience at IUP?
Oh yeah, big time. Sometimes positive, sometimes negative. Again, freshman year, I switched majors, so I got to drop a bunch of classes, especially since I didn't have to worry about financial aid since my dad was funding it, basically. So I was taking 2 classes. So I went to 2 classes, and I went back to my room, played video games all day, hung out all day, partied all day, played football all day. So there was a lot of that. Then I squared up.
What were some of the bad things you think about living on campus?
I would just say bad for education, just because I was always hanging out, not doing much studying. But no, I wouldn't say I was doing anything bad. It was just bad for education-wise, that's all.
Did you notice a big party culture when you were here?
I didn't think it was crazy. It's a college. You go to party in college. I didn't think it was anything absurd. The most absurd thing was when I saw St. Patty's Day a couple of years ago. We didn't do anything that crazy. That was probably the best partying there. But we didn't do anything like that.
Do you have any what was some of the most memorable moments you've had here?
I think it was my freshman year in the dorms. I think that experience was one of the most fun experiences there were, because it's very different now. I don't like the way they set it up now. Because our dorms, we would just leave our door open. Everyone would hang out with everybody. Again, our floor was just so tight-knit. It didn't even matter your background, what color you were, if you were a person to stay in your room and just play on your computer all day. We would still go through and say hello to you and hang out and everything else like that. So it's very different now with all these doors that can't just be left open and all this other stuff. Because I would just blare music out of my door, and we would basically just hang out and party in the hallway and just have fun and get to know each other. And I still to this day talk to the people that I hung out in my dorms with and everything. And even the freshman orientation, I got to know a lot of my friends from that too. Me and someone that is now my friend, we fell asleep during one of the presentations, orientations, and everything. And like at the end of it, we didn't really know each other, but we were like, hey, it was good going to sleep with each other, like just joking around with it. But then we became real good friends. I still talk to them to this day, and we hung out like every day from there on throughout college. So it's just fun way of getting to know people.
Mm-hmm. Was there anything that you didn't like about IUP that you would want to change or thought they could have done differently?
Now that it's this far out, I don't remember anything, so it must not have stood out that much. So not really. Again, that's just for me, though. I'm sure there are other people that have a thousand things they want to change. But
everybody's different, but
it's fine.
Has the campus changed at all since you've been here?
Heck yeah. The dorm I lived in isn't here, Ashton Wallace. The dorm I worked at, which was the Tri-Halls, which was like Stewart, Lawrence, and something else, those aren't here anymore. That's actually back there. The only things that look the same are Zinc, because that's where I was a lot, and Stouffer, because that's where my dad worked, so I knew what that looked like. But yeah, a lot has changed.
Have you noticed any change in the diversity of the school?
I thought there were a lot of diversity back then still. If anything, it does feel like there's about the same or even more. I see a lot of exchange students, a lot more Africans that have come over. Especially I was driving through an African day, and I was joking around with my wife. I was like, did you bring all these people here? But it's nice, though. It's nice to see from all different countries. I like seeing all different colors, all different ethnicities. I like seeing all that.
No, I definitely like that, too. I mean, that's definitely something I picked up on when I first attended the school as well. There's a large number of foreign exchange students.
Yes. And
I came from a very small D3 school in Baltimore.
Oh, yeah.
So there was not a lot of diversity. You had black people, you had white people, but that wasn't really about it.
Yes.
You come here and there's Chinese immigrant students, there's people from Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
So I definitely can attest to that.
Yeah.
Diversity is very different here.
That's for sure.
And it's definitely a good thing. I definitely agree with you on that.
Thing. It's good for you to experience it.
It makes college interesting.
Yes, that's for sure.
Were there any professors you really liked during your time here? Any that stood out, made a big impact on your life?
Dr. Shao, Dr. Allman, Dr. Bayless, even though everyone was afraid of her. I still to this day am afraid of her. And she calls me once in a while, giving interviews for some of those kids. But very, very knowledgeable, smart, nice people.
Do you feel like they definitely helped set you up for greater success down the road?
Yes, I definitely do. Because just the way they taught, they weren't just there to give you the knowledge. They were there to help you retain it. And especially in my field, that helped out a lot. Even as I do interviews with people in exercise science department, I say, don't just memorize the material that you're learning for the test. You need to know this stuff if you really want to go into the real world, be somebody in exercise science or exercise physiology or anything in that realm. You can't just memorize it for a test. You got to know this stuff because people will ask you questions, and you're doing these things really to change people's lives. When I first was done, I just wanted to do CSCS, strength and conditioning, only deal with athletes. But now that I've been dealing with the general population, helping them get off diabetes medicine, take less insulin shots, lose weight to change their lives, get out of obesity, get into different realms of health and wellness, it's made a bigger impact to me, I feel, than what dealing with an athlete trying to take half a second off their 40 time would have done for me, I believe. So it's been self-gratifying, but at the same time, I'm helping change people's lives more than I even expected. I thought that I was just doing this to do it. And then one of my clients was like, you don't realize how much you actually are changing people's lives. And that's what really woke me up, is when they said that. So you got to take it seriously, especially when you're dealing with, again, a very diverse population.
Excuse me 1 second.
No
Sorry about that.
No, it's all right.
So you did mention that originally your focus was on more athletes and stuff like that. Was that your main goal from the start when you joined kind of the exercise science department?
Yeah.
You wanted to be an athletic trainer, or like, or not athletic trainer because you said you didn't want to do that.
Yeah.
But work with,
that's even why I
simply
got
work with
into
athletes.
athletic
Yeah.
training, because I just want to work with athletes. So when I switched to exercise science, I was like, I still just want to work with athletes. I want to be a strength and conditioning coach. Just tear people up, tell them what to do all day. I mean, I still get to tell people what to do all day, but I can't tear everybody up in the same aspect. But yeah, I thought only athletes. But now that I'm doing this, I couldn't even see myself just doing athletes. Because right now I still get to deal with athletes, but it's even in a more fun way because they're real young athletes, 13-year-olds up to 18-year-olds, and a couple in college. But it's nice to be able to see them gain strength, get their speed faster, and do those type of things that I want to do with an athlete, but I get to help mold them in a type of way. I helped a kid from, I think it was a sophomore year, just took time off of his, there was 60, he had to do 60-yard dash, he was a baseball player, and the banana turn and strengthen his shoulder, everything else like that. I helped him get into a D1 school for baseball, and they actually won 2 championships in a row now. So I like to think I kind of helped them do that. I always tell people I take 10% of your gains.
I think they owe you a ring.
Yeah, right. I want at least a picture of a trophy or something.
Team photo autographed.
Yeah.
So we covered if there were any professors that you liked. Were there any professors that you didn't get along with?
I mean, I just didn't like some of them. I would say I didn't get. It was just one professor that was real buddy-buddy with my dad, so he thought he could be buddy-buddy with me. And I was like, I don't know you. And then I wound up not really liking him. But again, after I left, after I matured a little bit more, and then obviously I'm still around town, so I still saw him, it's a different camaraderie then. But back in school, I was like, don't talk to me. I don't know you. You're not my friend. You're my dad's friend. Like, I try not to be mean, but I guess sometimes I am mean. But I just had that feeling back then. I was like, don't be buddy-buddy with me. But it's very different now. We're good. We're good now. I've matured in my ways.
All right, so kind of change a little bit of topic here. Do you remember any acts of discrimination, maybe not against you, but against other people that you saw at your time here?
I don't know if I would see it face-to-face too much, but there were acts that were done that I know my friends would tell me about. Like, they would go to Walmart, somebody would say the N-word to them, anything else like that. One time, my sister and I were driving around Martin's. I don't even know if it was Martin's yet or anything. And someone said the N-word to us driving by then. I didn't hear it, but she said they said it. And then we pulled around to look for the person to see if we could have a little chat, but we never found them again. But truly, I thank God that I didn't have much of that to deal with. Because first of all, I don't know how I would have dealt with it. Because again, I'm a lover, not a fighter. That might have brought the fight out of me. But yeah, I wasn't around it very much, which is a good thing for me, but I know it's there.
So how has your time at IUP helped you then? Do you think it's made you a better person, hurt you a little bit?
No, I think it made
advanced
me a
you?
better person for sure and advanced me. Because I like the small school setting. I think if I was in a big auditorium with a professor just blurting out stuff, I wouldn't have got the experience I did being here. And again, having the diversity in classes and being able to get to know different people. Because like I said, I was at the football field almost every day just playing football. They'd just be with whoever's there. That's how I got to know a lot of people. Just whoever's there playing football or doing their thing, or just walking around playing basketball. You get them to meet people there as well. And it's just nice to have that diversity and just camaraderie with many different people.
Did you always want to go to school around this size, or were you looking a little bigger originally?
I was looking big originally. I wanted to go to like Michigan, Ohio State, Pitt. I mean, all much bigger schools.
A little bit of a size difference there.
Yeah. But I think it worked out me not getting any money. I mean, like I said, they gave me some. Actually, Ohio State too. They gave me some money, but then they were out of state, so I was going to be crazy money. But I think my biggest places were Pitt and here. I really was about to go to Pitt. But again, it wasn't a full ride, so I went here. And I don't even know where I'd be right now, because I don't know if I would have stayed electronic engineering if I went to Pitt, or what would have happened. So
Mm-hmm.
I think things worked out better coming here. I never wanted to be a millionaire anyway, so I'm happy right now.
Right. So to kind of wrap up kind of this college aspect, what year did you graduate from IUP?
My undergrad was '09, then my master's was 2010. And then now I just started my doctorate, so I'll be graduating in hopefully another 3.5 years again.
Doctorate process is weird.
Yeah.
I might be in that boat soon enough, so I
Hey,
feel you on
good.
that.
Roll with it. Roll with it.
Yeah, we'll see. That's a lot of money.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. I'm paying for these ones. I know that.
So, what did you do when you first graduated? Did you immediately work at the YMCA?
Yeah, I actually did. When I first graduated, I was able to get a job there, and I was group exercise instructor and personal trainer. The first year, I actually got Employee of the Year, and then another year after that, I became the director of health and wellness there. I did that for 2 years, and then that was really stressful. I actually didn't like it at all. I liked it, but I didn't like it. I liked it because I was still making a difference, helping the company. I thought I was hiring very good people. Some of them are still there today, even though there's a lot of turnover at the Y. But they still always wanted more. Even though I was getting either close to budget or exceeding budget, they still wanted more. And that was just stressful. I didn't want to hear that every month. So I didn't mind taking over the head personal trainer. And now, for each training, I get paid enough that I'm actually making more than what I did when I was the director of health and wellness.
So really, it's a win-win.
It's a big win. I work half the time and I get paid more money. It was definitely a win.
Can't lose on that one.
Yeah, definitely not losing. I get to spend more time with my kids and train when I need to. So I usually try to train. That's why I don't mind training real early. I'd rather train 6 in the morning till 5 and get my work there so I could be with my family and kids from 5 on and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Even if I train at 6 in the morning, I try to stop at like 7:38 so I could be with them, get my kid on the bus, be there with my daughter in the morning, eat breakfast with them and everything. So, yes, nice.
Well, so going back to like getting hired at the YMCA, do you feel IUP had a big impact with that, or was this through your own connections?
I wouldn't even say it's through my own connections. It's just through persistency. I went for the application, turned it in, called them again, emailed them. I was like, you got to hire me. Because I knew I was going to be around here for a little while because nothing was pulling me away. Because before I graduated with my master's, my wife already got a job here. Even though as soon as we were done with school, she was like, we're picking up and getting out of here. Well, as everyone pretty much likes to say about Indiana. But she got a job, so I was like, okay, I'm going to be here, so I need to get a job. So yeah, I think it was just persistency. I don't really say it was IUP. It was just me having my knowledge, my background, and persistence.
Do you think your wife getting the job here really was what held you down here?
Yes. Well, I think it held us both down here. Because she had the job here, then I got my job. Then we had Giovanni. Then we're like, okay, we'll stay a little bit longer. We bought an apartment. We were about to have my daughter. We bought a house. I was like, okay, we're really staying here now. You don't buy a house with plans just to leave. So yeah, I think it just trickled. But we know that the education is good here. If we are going to move, we say we just want to get them out before junior high school, because that's when little cliques start and real sports start and everything else like that. So,
If you don't mind me asking, where does your wife work at?
Indiana First Bank.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it's all right. No.
Just like to create kind of the full image there.
Yeah.
You never know what people look for when they like go through these, so
Yeah.
it might be they may want to find someone that works at Indiana First Bank.
There you go. Hire her somewhere.
So you did say you married and then you actually working at the co-op store.
Mm-hmm.
So how long have you guys been together?
We met in '08, but I had a girlfriend then, and so we started dating after we broke up in '09. Now you're really making me go to numbers. Yeah, we started really dating in '09. No, that's wrong. We met early '08. I broke up with my girlfriend, then we started really dating late '08. So it was pretty much the beginning of '09. Again, right before we graduated, because we graduated May '09. And then November '09, I proposed to her. And in March 2010, we were married. Not to try to speed it up, but I didn't want her getting shipped back to Mozambique. So, but I mean, if I'm going to be engaged to somebody, I have plans to marry you. So I'm not going to get engaged to you and not plan to marry you. And obviously it worked out. We've been married over 6 years now. But yeah, got married pretty quick. And then we had a bigger wedding in 2010. Then that small one that we were just trying to get hitched.
Doesn't work too well if she's in Mozambique.
Yeah, not quite. And to move in together. We believe you don't move in together before. Even though we practically were moved in together, we just didn't sleep overnight. We believe you should move in together till we're married, so we got married so we can move in together too.
So does her being from Mozambique kind of create like some issues with family and stuff like that?
No,
like,
I never met her family.
There you go.
I
There's
have
an issue.
I have no in-law problems. Yeah, I've only ever talked to him over the phone. She hasn't been back to Mozambique since '07. And it's hard sometimes for both of us because she does miss her family and everything and being able to get back there. And we wish that they would Skype with us and do all those other things. Because, I mean, it's not like they don't have the technology there. They have technology to do it there. But it's still a means. It still is costly and everything else like that. So we wish that we were able to interact with them more, for them to meet, or our kids that is, to meet their second set of grandparents. Everything. But we talked to them over the phone. My wife translates with us over the phone because they actually speak Portuguese. And of course, I took French in high school, so I don't know any Portuguese. And then I started speaking French by accident to them. But as we translate, we try to talk, and it's not like we're not getting along or anything. So we're getting along with their family and everything. We just wish we could see them and interact with them more.
Does her culture play an active part in your household as well?
I would say yes, because her culture is very different. I don't like ghetto culture. That's probably not the right word to use, but that's the word I'm going to use anyway. Because like I said, I date a lot of diverse people as well. I dated a white girl, again from Canada, a Mexican, a black girl from America. And I wouldn't say she was ghetto, but she had ghetto tendencies, and that makes me mad. So I just went with somebody that has no clue about ghetto tendencies, and it's very different. She's a very different woman, and I think I like that too. That she knows nothing about the craziness of America sometimes and the things that go on, which is nice as well. I mean, she's learning it, but it's very different because of her background and her culture and the way she grew up. That's for sure. So
I know you said you have a couple. How many kids do you actually have? Two? Just
two?
two?
Boy, girl. Yep, no more. A 2-year-old and a 4-year-old. That's plenty.
Ooh. Have fun with that.
Since it was a boy, girl, we don't need to try for anything.
Hope you're good on that one.
Yeah.
Do they seem to like living in Indiana as of now? I mean, they're obviously very young, so they probably don't know a lot yet. But I mean,
yeah, they love it so far.
Good.
Yeah.
And
especially us traveling, I think helps too, because we've traveled to DC with them, to Michigan with them, to Philadelphia with them, to Pittsburgh with them. I mean, we're going to different areas, so they getting to feel. First of all, for travel, they did really good. We went to North Carolina, and I thought they were going to wreak havoc. They're actually good for that 11-hour car ride down there. I was more crazy than they were doing that job. But they're really good kids. They did well. And again, they don't know racism right now or diversity anyway. They interact with everybody, which I hope stays with them. And we're teaching them that as well right now. Because I went to my son's little orientation. There's already a very diverse elementary school. And that's why I know Indiana's changing, because it was very diverse. I think there was a kid from Turkey, obviously 1 or 2 other black kids, a couple other white kids. I think there was an Asian kid in there as well. So even for a class of 19 kids, that's a lot of diversity in that small classroom already.
Especially in the location of where Indiana
is.
Yes,
Exactly.
I think the university definitely does help with that.
That's big time. The university and the hospital right now, those are the 2 things
that are really bringing the
just
diversity.
bring anyone in here. Yeah.
So, you said like, oh God, where was I going with this? Okay, so I'm gonna rewind just a second here.
Yeah, that's all right.
So you mentioned that your son, correct, is starting elementary school.
Yeah, he's
in
in pre-K.
Is he going to the same schools that you're going to? That you went to?
I went to Ben Franklin. He's going to Ben Franklin.
Are you excited about that?
Oh, yeah.
Is there any place that you would rather him go? Or?
No. I was glad he was going to Ben Franklin. Actually, when we moved where he moved, I was happy because I was like, he's going to go to Ben Franklin when he's elementary school. And I mean, of course, not all the teachers are there anymore, but I think there was 1 or 2 that was still there. And it's just, like I said, I just thought it was a good education. And what he's learning right now is good. And I helped teach him how to read before he even went to pre-K. And now he's reading even better now. So there's obviously something good going on.
And just for my clarification, I mean, neither one of us are from the area. We're both from Maryland.
Oh,
is there more than one elementary school in the town, or
yeah,
just Ben
there is.
Franklin?
There is. There's technically 4, but that might be changing soon, which a lot of people are mad about who are in the school board and all that other stuff. But there's Eisenhower, East Pike, Horseman, and Ben Franklin. So yeah, 4 elementary schools.
So, do you still keep up with IUP now that you've graduated?
Well,
do you
since
follow
I'm going
IUP
there
sports?
for my doctorate, yeah.
Guess you don't really have a choice.
We did follow the sports because my wife played basketball for IUP. But whenever Coach Dow left with his crazy departure, we don't go there as much anymore. I did go to 1 college football game. I think I just brought my son. I don't think Marcia went with me. I have a horrible memory already. I'm surprised I remember the stuff I told you. There's so much stuff from day to day. I can't remember what I did last week. I guess I have a better long-term memory than short-term.
Well, luckily we were covering it all.
Yeah.
So. So, I mean, you said you don't really follow football. Do you still keep in touch with some of your professors?
Yeah, I keep in touch with our professors. Dr. Allman especially, Dr. Bayless again, because sometimes she calls me to see if I can interview some people. Dr. Shao. Well, he's on the board at the Y too, so that helps keeping in touch with him. But the professors I liked most, I keep in touch with. Dr. Schloniger, because I live next to his dad, so I see him here and there, talk to him, catch up. But yeah, just the main professors I really got to know, I would say I keep up with most.
Have you attended any alumni events since you graduated?
No, I try not to. No offense to anyone listening to this who's an alumni. No, I don't go to any of that.
I mean, you said you don't try to, but is that pretty much the only reason there?
I don't make enough. Once I make a little bit more, maybe then I'll give them some of mine. For right now, with 2 young kids, it goes to my family.
Understandable. So why did you choose to stay in Indiana? You said it was mainly the jobs. Were there any other reasons? Or
No, pretty much just because we started to build a family. I mean, it helped that my parents were here because they're the ones helping watch my kids when we're at work and everything, which makes a big difference for funding instead of paying for childcare or anything else like that. So we really appreciate that too. But that was probably the biggest thing, us having a job and my parents being able to help watch the kids so we didn't have to pay for childcare and everything.
is there someplace you think you would have gone if you hadn't stayed in Indiana?
My wife always said she wanted to live in Maryland, live in the D.C., Maryland area. We don't want to live in D.C. That's a little too rough for us. So we definitely want to live in a suburb of Maryland. She used to want to work at the World Bank. I don't know if she wants to anymore. I don't really think she minds what she does now. She's simple like me. We just want to live. Live well, not extravagant, just well.
No, that's definitely
I don't mind
understandable.
where I go. I wouldn't mind moving to Colorado, being with the Broncos. I told her if I get a job in Colorado after I'm done with my doctorate, we're going.
You don't have a choice anymore.
But no, we would like to stay on this side of the states. I would like to live in Virginia, so I don't mind if it's DMV area. I still want to be around because all my family's still around here. My brother's in D.C., my sister's in Philly. My other sister's technically at Penn State, but we're all still right around here. So I don't want to be the outlier moving to Colorado, even though I'd love to move to Colorado.
So did your time at IUP create any difficulties in post-graduation life, or do you think it only helped you?
Not yet, anyway. We'll see once I get all my degrees from the same school how much they're going to hate that. But I don't know. I don't think that. I know they say they usually frown upon that because they want you to have diversity of what schools you go to. But everything just seemed to work out well for me. Once I was done with my undergrad, the job market was horrible. So I wasn't even planning on getting my master's. So I was like, I might as well just get my master's. So I did that, went out, got a job, and then I had an opportunity with Dr. Millward. He's like, well, I went to speak at one of their classes because, again, I was African American around here working after post-graduation. So I went to talk to that class. And they're like, why don't you do this doctorate? I said, I just haven't thought about it. And so they basically influenced me to do the ALS program. So, and it just kind of worked out. I was able to get a GA for that. And so it's just things have been able to work out for me to be able to do my schooling here. So I wasn't going to say no.
Mm-hmm.
So it's better to at least have a master's and a doctorate than just have said no every time and not have anything, even if it's from the same school. So we'll see how that turns out.
Would you encourage your son to attend the school?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind if he did.
Or
I
your daughter, if
have
that
the
matter as
hopes
well?
and the plans to work at a university. So wherever I go, it's probably going to be the same thing. You go here with a full ride, if they even offer that, because I guess that's what the strike was all about. That was possibly going to be leaving. So I'm sure most schools are going to keep that, though, anyway. So it might be that circumstance. But if he does come to IP, I wouldn't mind at all.
So, going off of that as well, are you okay with raising your family in Indiana? Is there
Oh,
any other
yeah.
place you'd rather raise them?
I wouldn't say rather right now because I don't know any other place really.
Fair enough.
Again, there's going to be racism everywhere, and hopefully wherever we go, there's going to be diversity. Actually, no matter where we go, we're going to plan to be diversity. It's actually what made my wife come here as well, was the diversity. Because she had offers in basketball to go to some bigger schools, and some schools that were predominantly one race, either mostly white or mostly black. So she said she actually picked this smaller D2 school to have the diversity. So plays a toll in our thinking for sure.
Mm-hmm, definitely. And sticking with that kind of idea of community, you said that you live actually outside the town now, right? Like you live more behind Walmart, correct?
That's my parents. Well, I guess I'm technically
Or
still close.
over there.
up
So
the
I'm not
street
the
from
best with
Walmart.
the.
No, it's all right. So there's
Geography.
one road, which is Walmart's here. Warren Roads is just that road behind the cornfields back there. I'm just like another road down.
Okay.
I'm
Well,
at Sunset Acres.
So you're at least not in the downtown area.
No, yeah, I didn't want to
Do you-
live in a borough.
Okay, so that was actually where I was going with that. It was like that a big decision on your part. You
we
definitely
did
didn't
not
want to
wanna-
stay in the
We looked at
borough.
houses in the borough, but we did not want to live in the borough.
Was there any reason in particular why? Or
Just wanting to do whatever we want. I cut down trees. I burn leaves in my backyard. I do this. I do that. I help renovate my house. I like to do stuff on my own. There's so many rules and regulations in the borough about cutting down trees, building on your property, doing this, doing that. We didn't feel like dealing with all of that.
Mhm.
So we want to live in White Township technically. So that's where we live in White Township.
Do you like that raising your family better there than you think it would have in downtown?
I
there?
say yes, just because where we are, it's a neighborhood where you could just let your kid play outside. They
Mhm.
could run around. If you're in the borough, there's too many cars going by, too much stuff like that. So being in that neighborhood on the outskirts more, you feel a little bit safer. It's people always watching. Anytime my neighbors go out of town, they say, "Hey, would you mind watching my house for me?" Anytime we go out of town, we say, "Hey, you mind watch my house for us?" They can just go out the backyard, play with their friends, run back and forth across the street, still looking both ways. Make sure they but yeah, it's just different. It's just very different being able to be in the neighborhood than it is being downtown.
Do you think having the college students live in the area influences you to move out?
Yeah. Because there was a house that we really wanted. But I don't know if you know where Riskine's house used to be.
I'm not familiar with it.
The tattoo parlor,
Okay.
Mojo's.
Yeah.
Go down
Yeah.
a little bit past that church, and there's that little gated area
Mhm.
with those pretty nice apartments.
Yes. Okay.
It actually used to be a guy's house. And he pretty much had a mansion right there. He had passed away, and they sold the property. But there was a beautiful house right next to his house. And we were about to buy it, but then they were building those apartments right there. So we're like, do we want to be right across the street from kids possibly partying at 2, 3 in the morning? Because we were buying the house solely because we were about to have a second child. So we knew that we were going to have 2 kids. And so, yeah, that influenced that aspect. But, I mean, otherwise, and being real close, we didn't mind it otherwise. Because we would hope that wouldn't be any craziness.
Mhm.
But we don't have to worry about it anyhow.
Do you think having the college in the actual town, having all these students kind of living in the houses that are intermingled with other families, do you think it's had an impact on the community here, or have you seen it change as people keep expanding out and I mean, they're trying to get more and more students to come in here.
Yeah.
That's going to create more and more housing for students in the
Yeah. I
in
think
the
it
actual
is
town.
pushing people outward. But I don't know how much people mind that because it is more land too.
Mm-hmm.
So they're getting more land, more property, pretty much for the same price. Because all these houses in here are really old too. So the houses outside more, a little bit younger, and people are building as well. So I think it's a good and a bad. It's pushing people, but it might be for the good once they realize it.
Mm-hmm.
And with Halliburton going out of business, there's a lot of houses for sale right now too.
If you don't mind me asking, what is Halliburton?
I really don't even know.
I have never heard of that before.
I just know it's a company that went out of business. I don't know if they're oil or electric. I think they're oil. I think. I really don't know what they do. But they're doing, there's something like that. Oil, coal, electricity. They're one of those power companies.
Do you think this community as a whole is growing or
I think it
shrinking?
is, yeah. No, it's definitely growing. I think that's why they're looking into changing the elementary schools. It's not going to keep growing if they keep messing stuff up, though. Like messing up IUP and all these strikes. And they expanded the hospital, so that helps. That should bring in more people. But getting rid of Halliburton and stuff like that, that's what's going to hurt. And if coal goes down, if oil goes down, that's going to hurt this area too. But if that stays up, which is supposed to turn over next year, I think it'll keep expanding. But it definitely is getting very different.
Is this a big coal mining town? I guess I'm not familiar
I
with
think
the
it
area.
used to
so-
be, but I think people are just still around here because of that.
Okay.
I think it's turning more to. There are a lot of, because one of my clients I train is in the coal mining industry, but he has to travel outside of here a lot. But I think they travel outside, but then they still live around this area.
So that's pretty much the list of questions that we have. Is there anything else that you would like to add into this?
Unless you want me to add something.
Hey, I mean, it's all about you here, so.
No, I think you guys. I like the questions and everything. I think you guys did good conducting.
Well, thank you very much then.
No
Thank you very much for coming.
Oh yeah.
We really appreciate it.
Thank
no
you.
problem at all.